Once you've satisfied your hunger, get ready for more of the hottest casino games in Vegas. Our 24-hour, 30-table non-smoking poker room proudly hosts all the most popular poker games with a variety of betting limits. Visit the poker room for a schedule of daily tournaments. Whether you're going to hold 'em or fold 'em, the best place for poker is at South Point Casino. You'll notice that our craps tables are usually the loudest in the casino. If you've never played, join one of our free craps lessons to find out what makes this game so exciting. Check with the craps dealer for schedules and give it a roll. Bingo is also an exciting way to spend your time. We offer 7 sessions of bingo every day. Bingo! And each session includes a cash ball jackpot, 12 bingo games, a progressive double action game, and a $10,000 bonus coverall. Electronic units are available. If you haven't played bingo with us, give it a try today. Guests can also get in on the action at our one-of-a-kind race and sports books. 2 separate rooms designed to maximize your experience and comfort. Our sports book, with over 400 seats, puts you right in the middle of the action, 24 hours a day. The friendly ticket writers are happy to help, and it's conveniently located next to the famous Del Mar Deli, where you'll find supersized portions of delicious deli items like roast beef, pastrami, and Reuben sandwiches, or soups, salads, and pizza. Plus spectacular desserts fit for a king. And right next door is the race book. Over 150 seats, each with its own TV screen. There are 16 interactive player terminals, so you can bet right from your seat.
Sports by the book.
Sports by the book.
Sports by the book. Sports by the book, South Point Studio.
This is the best sports betting network.
I would argue it is a total mismatch.
There's value with underdog prices in series.
I would lean to the under here.
My numbers are saying I got to bet the Tigers.
Two-way action.
When in doubt, we juice that favorite, that extra nickel.
Sports by the book, South Point Studio.
Forget about it. The best.
It's Sports by the Book at the South Point Studio. Here's Jeff Parles and Alex White.
Good morning. Welcome in. It is Sports by the Book, South Point Studio. Jeff Parles, Alex White. Good morning, Alex.
Good morning. How are you today?
We're both here. That's all that matters here on the Thursday. We got NBA Finals Game 6 we'll get to in a little bit, but we got to get right to it. There's day baseball because there was not a lot of cooperation with weather in the middle of the country yesterday. 3 rainouts. We'll get to those day games that are coming in a second, but let's dive right in with one that was not impacted by weather. But you know what? Maybe the Nats would have hoped it was impacted by weather. The Colorado Rockies are going for a 4-game sweep of the Washington Nationals. Yes, you heard me right. Rockies going for a 4-game sweep. And they have their most talented pitcher on the mound today in Dollander going against Trevor Williams, plus 50 on Colorado, minus 65 on the Nats. Nats have not won seemingly since the Obama administration at this point. Now, at least it just feels like that. But have not their last win, Alex White, came on June 6th. It's been a bad stretch for the Washington Nationals.
Not a lot to say in this one here, Jeff. I mean, I really don't trust either pitcher going with Dollander or Trevor Williams. Both their numbers are pretty bad, and you can see them on our lower thirds with Dollander, a 6.57 ERA and a 1.54 WHIP, and on the other side with Williams, 5.71 and a 1.43. So you would expect an over, but look at that high total that the books are putting up. I don't want to go over that, even though the Rockies' offense has been much better. So this was an easy pass for me.
Rockies have gotten it to 40 games under 500. Very impressive. Very impressive run by the Rockies. Going for their second sweep of an NL East team on the road. It would be, again, kind of stunning that what has happened with them for the Nats just totally falling apart over the last 10 days. We go to New York next, talking about falling apart. The Yankee offense is just totally MIA. Rodon and Anderson. Rodon's almost a $3 favorite in this game. Alex, Yankees have lost 6 in a row. Yankees just can't score right now. It was another bad offensive outing yesterday. They only scored 2 in a 3-2 loss. I don't know how you can bet the Yankees right now, especially at that price at minus 280.
No, that price is just way too high to back them. And it's a clear advantage with Rodon going and Tyler Anderson on the other side. But you're right, Jeff. The Yankees' second worst offense in the last 7 days. 175 average, 244 on base percentage, and a 37 WRC plus. So no, thank you. I don't want to get involved here, even though, I mean, you would expect this could be a good outing for them, but we've said that the last couple of days.
Angels look for a 4-game sweep in the Bronx. It would make them 7-0 at Yankee Stadium and Dodger Stadium this year, because that's exactly what we all expected going in. Angels, again, still hanging around, only 1 game under 500. Yankees lead down to a game and a half. The Tampa Bay Rays became the first team to come back from 8 runs down this year in a game to win. It's against the Orioles last night.
Didn't you say something good about the Orioles?
Yeah, that was 4 days ago now.
Okay,
and that was my own fault. That was my own fault.
No, but you said that too. You're like, now that I'm talking good about them,
they're not. The push that looked like was possible, not going to happen now. More likely than not. There's already a rain delay in the doubleheader in Detroit, but we'll touch them here. Tigers and Pirates. First game is the Skubal-Heaney matchup. No, they did not move Skeens up. Pirates didn't, so. More no fun from the organization that is no fun at the current moment, other than Skeens himself. Skubal and Heaney, we talked about this yesterday. Actually, Detroit's an even bigger favorite now than they were yesterday, minus 350. This game, right now, they're looking at about a 10:40 Pacific, 1:40 local time first pitch, but the tarp is still on, so I don't know how valid that is at the moment.
I really think with Heaney on the other side, of course, Skubal the best pitcher right now in the league. I mean, Skeens could arguably be. We'll get that in the next game. But I really think an under is a good play here in this one. I'm a little bit nervous, and I'd rather go first 5. I don't love that 3.5. But I brought up the Yankees offense. Well, the Pirates are the only one that have worse numbers. 168 average, 235 on base percentage, and 29 WRC plus. So I think that number is actually warranted with Skubal being on the mound. We talked about a no-hitter yesterday. But I think you could go under for game or first 5.
7 on the full game total. The first 5, again, sitting at 3.5. Again, numbers are even more extreme on Skubal today than they were yesterday with the same pitching matchup. Game 2 of this double dip. Skeens against undecided. Skeens is a favorite, actually, against the best team in the American League, even though we don't know the Tiger pitcher. This is what Alex, I want to see what happens in game 1, but I know it's Skeens, but you're going to give me a plus price with Detroit at home. I probably will end up taking that.
Yeah, I agree completely. I mean, I do think that you got to take plus money here with Skeens, but nothing for me in this. And doubleheader. You know how I like to wait and see what happens.
Yeah, let's see if they even get that first game off the ground at this rate. It's still tarp on at Comerica. All right, we'll flip back to the top of the rotation numbers here. More day baseball, this time at Wrigley. Cubs and Brewers didn't play yesterday. They got rained out as well. Not a cooperation day for weather in Middle America. Brewers keep Freddie Peralta on schedule, so he'll start today. Mizorowski will just go later in the week now. Tyone just pushed back a day. They're going to make up that game that got rained out when the Brewers go to Wrigley again later this summer. Tyone's $1.30 against Peralta with a total of 8.5 in this game. Man,
I really liked the Cubs yesterday with Tyone going and going up against the rookie, but now here against Freddie Peralta, I think these two pitchers are very even. It's a pretty even matchup here. That number tells you, I mean, minus 130 basically just for the home team. Cubs have struggled as of late offensively, so as much as I'd like to back them at home here, I'm just going to pass on this one as well.
Yeah, this is... I wish I was getting a little bit more with Freddie here. That would be the only way I'd look to play this. First 5, yeah, it's even. Not good enough. Not good enough. We were talking about $1. If we were talking about plus 115 for the first 5 and then maybe $1.25 for the full game, yeah, I'd look at Milwaukee, but just not good enough to hop in on the Brewers here today. Again, they'll make up that game that was rained out later in the season. Miami next. Phillies Phillies took game 3 of that series yesterday. A nice catch by Nick Castellanos at the warning track to rob what would have been a game-tying double for Miami to get the Phillies to win, and also the run line cover as well, win by 2. Minus 40 today with Sanchez against Cabrera. It feels like another cheap price on Philadelphia today. I know we like Cabrera's stuff. He missed all last year with an injury, but when he's been on the mound, high-end stuff. It just, his first start against Pittsburgh was really good for 3 innings and then just completely fell off. Minus 40 with Sanchez. Yeah, this is such a good price on Philly. I would only be on the Phillies here today.
I'm with you, and I think minus 140 is the way to go, or even first 5 here, minus 135. You're right about Cabrera, but his home numbers are not as good as his road numbers. He has a 4.35 ERA. I worry about him here in this one because he has not gone deep into games. He's going 5-4 innings here. No quality starts for him. On the other side, I do trust Sanchez. Lefty here, 8 quality starts. 57% of his starts have been, and his last 2 games have been really good. 7 innings pitched, just 2 earned runs in each of those against the Blue Jays and the Pirates. So I really like the Phillies in this spot. Not going to get too cute and lay the 1.5 like yesterday because that was pretty lucky there. But I do like the first 5 as well, minus 135. So one of those 2 ways.
No problem with either. I'll go full game. I'll take, even though we don't love the Philly bullpen, the Marlin bullpen is a mess, but I would lean for the full game over the first 5. But that's still good too, especially at 5 cents cheaper on Christopher Sanchez here today. All right, we go to Atlanta next. The Atlanta Braves going for a 3-game sweep over the Mets. Strider and Holmes, your pitching matchup. Shop around on a total here. There's a bunch of 9 in the market as well, depending on what you like. If you like under, go find a 9. And if you like over, take the 8.5 here at the South Point. Sidewise is staying off. I actually think the price is pretty good on Strider, even though we have not seen the pre-injury Spencer Strider just yet. Alex, numbers, all things considered, have been pretty ugly for Strider in his first 6-7 appearances this year, but Mets in a slump right now, all which ways. They're pitching and they're hitting. Their pitching is at their worst 5-game stretch of the year. They're hitting. They got shut out yesterday. Sale was brilliant and 1 out short of a complete game. Would only be a look to Atlanta, but going to stay off. Wish it was a little bit cheaper, more things than not.
I'm on the other side here in this one, Jeff. I don't want to overreact. I do think that had more to do with Chris Sale than it did with the Mets lineup. Remember the game before that, it did go into extras. Braves were lucky to win that one 5-4. So I think we can get the Mets bats going again here in this one against Strider, who I do think he'll be back soon, but I don't want to just crown him back just after coming off of his first really good start, going 6 innings, 0 earned runs against the Rockies. He had 13 strikeouts, 1 walk. Before that, he had a lot of command problems, a lot of walks. So I think that this Mets lineup will be patient, and I think that they'll be able to get to him. I think that plus 120 is a great price, and I even like the first 5 because I do think Clay Holmes will be able to keep this Mets team in this game. So either or, I definitely am taking a plus price here on the Mets to avoid this sweep.
Last one in the NL only games, and this is another sweep avoidance game, but boy, what a problem for the Padres here today with this pitching matchup because it's Berger against Yamamoto, so a gigantic advantage to the Dodgers who, the Dodgers have really picked everything up here all of a sudden, Alex, and now the Mets, the Cubs, and the Dodgers are all, and the Phillies for that matter, are all within a game of each other in the loss column. Boy, this feels like a state. Again, I don't want to go full cliched, but Dodgers finish this off. You sweep San Diego, you go 6-1 against them. It's a statement from LA here. Also coupled with 4 losses for the Giants in their last 4 games. Dodgers actually all of a sudden have a chance to open things up a little bit in the National League West.
I couldn't agree anymore. I'd love to make the case for the Padres here, getting that huge plus number, but I mean, watching that game yesterday, and if they were going to have one, it should have been last night, right? And then Dodgers found a way in the 9th inning there. But Yamamoto, I do expect him to pitch well here. And on the other side with Berger, I mean, he makes me nervous because he is a pop-up pitcher, and I think the Dodgers have really put some things together. So couldn't really find anything. I mean, I'd lean to taking that 1.5, getting a plus price there, and Padres keep it close again, maybe even against the bullpen rather than Yamamoto himself, but nothing very confident for me.
Going to the American League next, Rangers taking on the Royals, final game in Arlington for this series. Both teams head in with a 36-38 record. Kansas City's taken both of the first two games after that horrible week at home. It'll be Armstrong and Waka today, minus 25 on Armstrong and the Rangers. Total 8. There is some 8.5 in the market. So again, another one of these total games where you can shop around and depending what you like overbet it here at the South Point. Bet if you like the under, go somewhere, shop around and find that 8.5 that's readily available.
And this one does make me a little bit nervous here. Rangers bullpen day for them. They really need to turn things around again. The Royals scored 6 in each of their last 2. We aren't really used to seeing that from this Kansas City team, which makes me nervous to go against them. But I do think this is a very cheap price for the Rangers to get back on track here. Avoid the sweep. Michael Wacha, while he has been decent his last few starts, 5 earned runs against the Athletics, 3 against the White Sox. I think this Rangers lineup, I think we can all say, is better than both of those two. So minus 125 feels like a very cheap price here.
Yeah, I'm with you, Alex. I'm with you. This is just sweep avoided. Royals, you can't figure out the Royals at this point because now we talked about the home road splits advantageous to home. It's gone the other way of late, which is just the complete opposite of what we knew about this team a year ago and what they were at least through the first 2 months of this season so far. All right, we go to Tampa next. Rays yesterday became the first team this season to come from 8 down to win. They also yesterday became the first team in the MLB modern era to allow 8 runs in an inning to open the game scoring and then not allow a hit or a run the rest of the way and come back and win the game.
Wow.
So the Rays are playing great right now, and couple that with the Yankees' struggles, you have a team that's only a game and a half out of the division lead in the American League East. Night game tonight, Rasmussen and Morton. Morton has started to pitch a little better, coming off his best start of the year last time out. Minus 35 on Tampa, plus 20 on the Orioles, total 8.5.
He has definitely, looking at his last 3 starts there, but still, I think he has some of the worst numbers of any pitcher going today. A 166 whip. Looking at his last 3 starts, though, you're right, because his xFIP is down 257, which is very good, but I like Rasmussen on the other side. I think he is the much better pitcher, and I don't think you should go against this hot team here. So I think minus 135 Tampa Bay, that'll definitely make my board, and I'll be betting that today.
Yeah, it's got to be Tampa. Again, Morton has looked better, but it's still, I'm still not all the way there. I don't think he's back to the form that and again, Morton's 42 years old. How consistent at this point is a 42-year-old pitcher going to be? We go to Sacramento next, Alex. The A's, boy, it'd been 2 ridiculously bad outings in a row for the A's pitching. Another easy over yesterday, 11-4. Astros take it thanks to a 7-run sixth. Gordon and Lopez tonight, minus 30 on the Stros. Total 10.5. Just the only question here is the total just getting too high? Tonight in Sacramento, weather-wise, the winds are blowing out again. Winds are blowing out to left, so maybe that total's not too high at 10.5 with two mostly unknown guys on the mound here on both sides.
I'm going to take another shot here with Houston on the road. I like Jacob Lopez, but I don't think he's quite ready, and he is definitely a pop-up guy. So you're talking about the wind. We're talking about this ballpark. I think it's going to be a bad spot for him, kind of like it was yesterday for Severino. So going back on the Astros here in this spot at minus 130.
Yeah, I'm good with that, too. The A's, we've talked about it, home run splits, but the A's are really fallen off, as we know, second worst record in the American League now. All right, doubleheader in Chicago for the South Side. White Sox and Cardinals here. Fetty On the bump, we know that this is actually a revenge spot, right? For Fetty, first time he's faced the White Sox, he's going to get dealt. Minus 40 on Fetty. This total's moved up a full run, Alex. It went from 8 to 9. So curious your thoughts, especially with that full run on the total for this game.
I can kind of understand that. I mean, when I was really diving into both of these pitchers, so Fetty, 43% of his starts have been quality starts. And on the other side, Sean Burke, we know that we do all like him for being a pitcher for this White Sox. 42% of his starts, not coming off of his best one, though, 7 earned run against the Astros. And then Fetty, we know he's just very up and down. He's either pretty much lights out or can give up quite a few runs. Been pretty consistent as of late. Looking at his road splits, too, he is better on the road. 3.13 ERA and a 1.17 whip. So it's definitely a lean that way to the Cardinals. I had him on the board yesterday. Obviously, that game didn't go, but I think I'm going to back Fetty here in the Cardinals in the first game at that price.
It would only be St. Louis. Again, this is the time for the Cardinals to get themselves right again in the National League look at things. There is a second game in this one because of the rain out last night. McGreevy and Vasil, your pitching matchup. Boy, this is an interesting one. Yep. Minus 55 on St. Louis. A little bit surprised that this total is less than the first one. So, well, obviously you got to see what happens in the first game. The weather too is. So this is the interesting one, and this is why this total is the case. Wind's blowing out in the first game.
Okay.
The wind pattern is going to change as the day goes along, but not totally certain of the timing yet. It could happen in the middle of the second game. It could happen before the second game. So check your weather reports when you get closer to whenever that second game goes, which will be 25 minutes after game one ends.
This one should be an interesting one. Want to see how both of these pitchers do, but McGreevy did very well in AAA, a 2.51 ERA and a 1.20 whip across 61 innings pitched. So I think he can do pretty good. We did see him already in 2 games, and one of them was very good, and then the Dodgers did get to him, but that is expected. So against this White Sox lineup, I think he could have a pretty good day here. So I don't know. It might just be betting on the Cardinals for this doubleheader. Like you said, this is a spot that they really need, a day they need.
Just got to get right against a team that you're better than. They already took the first game. A 3-game sweep would be just what the doctor ordered. And again, the NL is so compact now because of what's happened with the Padres the last few days against the Dodgers, and Giants also aren't playing well either. There you go. Look how compact everything is once you get past those top 4 teams. San Francisco is only a game and a half clear of San Diego, but they're only 2 games clear of the Reds and the Brewers right now. Oh, by the way, Reds already underway. They're up. Well, that game's exploded. It's 4-2 Minnesota at the top of the 4th inning. And Buxton's got 2 already. Oh, boy. Geez, Buxton, who's making a claim for an American League All-Star starting spot in the outfield. Going to be compact, especially if the Braves get back in it. This is going to really get compact in the National League wild card race. All right, speaking of a team that's in that wild card race, Diamondbacks 3 games out of a spot entering today. They'll go north to the border for the final game of that series against Toronto. Jays have taken the first 2, 8-1 yesterday. It's Gausman and Nelson. Gausman's a nice size favorite, $1.55 up at Rogers Center today, Alex.
I like this dog here as well, too. I was quite hesitant backing Ryan Nelson to start the year, but, I mean, he has to step up in this starting role, and he's been pretty good. I mean, he really just has 2 bad games, one against Cincinnati, and then the one before that was the Cubs. So both of those offenses we know can really get going. I think he'll be okay in this spot. I know Toronto has started to get hot as well, but trying to avoid the sweep. I don't really trust Gausman on the other side, although his numbers say 50% of his starts have been quality starts. I still think this Diamondbacks lineup can definitely get to him, and he's good for 3, maybe 4 earned runs. Arizona's going to be able to put that up. So as long as Ryan Nelson can do the same thing on the other side, or maybe hold them to even less, I think we'll be good with this plus 140.
Diamondbacks looking to avoid the sweep north of the border. And then the last one, how about Cleveland after getting swept? Excuse me, I should say. After getting swept in Seattle, They're looking to do the sweeping in San Francisco. Yeah, baseball makes a lot of sense from time to time, right, Alex? $1.75 on the Giants looking to avoid the sweep at home and Logan Webb. It's Williams on the other side. Alex, this does feel like a good spot for Logan Webb against a mediocre lineup that we like to go against. Later the half a run in the first five at $1.20. That seem okay?
Yep. I think that is fantastic. I do like that a lot. I didn't even think of that. I was trying to figure out how to back Webb. I was looking at first five under, but it's 3.5. I don't love that.
That's low.
I like yours a whole lot better, especially even just looking at the numbers. I mean, the Giants are still top 5 right now offensively in the last 7 days. So hasn't looked great against Cleveland, but still putting up runs. 2.79 average, 3.76 on base percentage, 135 WRC plus. Williams is decent enough. That's why I thought I could go under first 5. He is above an average big league pitcher, but I do think the Giants, this will be a great bounce back spot for them. So first 5, yes, minus half. Minus 120.
Yeah, minus 20 seems pretty good. I would have actually expected to be closer to $1.40 and get like almost $2 on Webb for just the regular money line. It's minus 80 of that. Me and the Giants, again, this NL playoff race is going to be a lot more interesting to me just because the quality of teams are better than the ones that are at the bottom of the American League wild card chase at the moment. But the Giants, again, they make the Devers trade. They lose 2 in a row. It'll be interesting to see what happens here today. Final game of that series by the Bay with the Guards and the Giants. All right. That's a baseball card here on a Thursday morning. We're going to take a quick break. When we get back, we look at game 6 of the game that's plastered behind us. Pacers, Thunder. Will Halliburton play? And if he does, how effective? Oh, and our good friend Vinny Maliula will join us on set for the remainder of the show when we get back. Sports by the Book, South Point Studio.
We have 11 amazing restaurants featuring a wide variety for every price range and appetite. South Point's Garden Buffet has something for everyone at unbeatable prices. Or, if hunger strikes in the middle of the night, join us at Coronado Cafe. The American menu offers breakfast, lunch, or dinner 24 hours a day. Plus a Chinese kitchen for authentic Chinese dishes from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. From steak and eggs to wonton soup, it's fast and friendly service 24/7. When you need a quick pick-me-up, you can find it at our state-of-the-art Starbucks just inside the main South Point entrance. Order ahead with the Starbucks app for easy mobile order pickups. Or enjoy your favorites in the relaxing dining area anytime, day or night. If you love Mexican food, Baja Miguel's has all of your south of the border favorites. There are dozens of classics to choose from, like fajitas, ceviche, chimichangas, tacos, and more. And for spirit lovers, Baja's colorful non-smoking tequila bar is right outside.
Football contest sign-up season is here, and you don't want to miss out on the action. With millions of dollars on the line each and every week in the world's biggest football contest, there's only one proxy to trust, footballcontest.com. Maddie and Tony have set the gold standard for football contest proxy services with 20 years of experience and over 13 million in winnings for their clients. All you have to do is get to Vegas between now and the start of football season to sign up in person, and they do the rest, making sure your picks are entered every week. Whether you want to play in the Circa Sports Million, Circa Survivor, Super Contest Gold, or the new Super Contest College Contest, Maddie and Tony have you covered. Their new website has everything you need to know about these football contests and more, including how you can reserve the best proxy in the business. Experience matters, so go with the pros at footballcontest.com, the gold standard proxy service.
South Point Casino has plenty of attractions for the whole family. Catch a movie. Our 16-screen movie theater includes 2 XD Extreme screens for the ultimate in viewing, sound, and luxury. After the show, treat the family to a variety of treats at our old-fashioned ice cream parlor, Kate's Corner. We scoop up a variety of creamy concoctions, including smoothies, hand-dipped cones, milkshakes, malts, sodas, and sundaes. At Kate's, there's something for everyone. And if you've still got time to spare, our bowling center might be right up your alley. Voted Best of Las Vegas, it's a great place for friends and family fun. 64 lanes, a pro shop, snack bar, and arcade. And while the kids are bowling, you can play slots and sip on a drink in the Alley Cat Lounge while overlooking the lanes. For our more serious and professional bowlers, the South Point is also home to a separate tournament bowling plaza.
Sports by the book.
Sports by the book.
Sports by the book. Sports by the book, South Point Studio.
This is the best sports betting network.
I would argue it is a total mismatch.
There's value with underdog prices in series.
I would lean to the under here.
My numbers are saying I got to bet the Tigers.
Two-way action.
When in doubt, we juice that favorite, that extra nickel.
Sports by the book, South Point Studio.
Forget about it. The best.
We're back in at Sports by the Book, South Point Studio. Jeff Parles, Alex White. And now joining us, the always well-dressed and perfect hair, our good friend Vinny Malaiolo joins us right now.
I pride myself on consistency, Jeffrey.
Hey, consistency's important, my friend.
That's right.
We all know it.
That's right. That's how you win titles.
Absolutely. But Vinny, it's a pleasure to have you in, as always, on a
Good
Thursday.
to be with you,
here.
always. Yeah, that's right.
So let's begin. Let's start in the NBA because we haven't talked about this game 6 yet. Tyrese Haliburton looks like he's going to attempt tonight.
He's going to play.
He's going to attempt. Now, the calf injury that normally would mean 3 weeks, maybe even longer, depending on the extent of the injury. But he's going to try tonight. And the number is 6 here at the South Point. The total, that's honestly what I have my eyeballs on even more than the side right now. That total, which you and I, Alex and I talked about throughout the week, we're 228 in game 4. It came down initially in game 5 and ended up sneaking over at the end of the game.
Yes.
Now we have our lowest total of the series by margin at 222 right now. Open 224.5, so down 2.5 points. Vinny, how's the betting been? And any thoughts you may have here? 6 on OKC. That's up 1.5, but that's not surprising because we didn't know the extent of the Halliburton injury.
Well, there were 6.5 yesterday, right?
And it was a 7.
Right? So, it was higher. I think, and not a real surprise that it's come back down because he is going to go. Now, obviously, he's not 100%. So, how effective can he be? Well, listen, it'll be a psychological lift if he can, at least start better and make a few baskets early. I think that'll certainly, bode well for the Pacers. But, as the series goes on, he's had this. He's been bothered by it, right? And you can see as the longer the series goes on, the more impact it has, right? I mean, it's difficult. To your point, even with 2 days at minimum in between games, the recovery time for that injury is just not enough. If it was the regular season, let's say if it was the first round even, and they were at a 3-1 lead, he probably wouldn't play.
Right.
So, but he's got to go. He's going to give it a shot. Holding at 6, will we go back to the opening number? And once it's officially announced that he plays, I don't think so. You may see some more action on the money line, which right now is 220 and 190. So, but yeah, I mean, we'll probably need the Pacers in the game, but I don't think it will be as big a decision as certainly the first 4 games of this series were pretty big decisions. I mean, those first couple of games where the public did extremely well in the first halves, and then on the games where Indiana that first game, it was pretty amazing. The public had Oklahoma City in the first half to cover the first half point spread, but they had the Pacers on the money line. But again, as this series has gone on, I think the health and the depth of OKC has really shown itself.
Vinny, you've done this for a long time. Put yourselves in handicapper, better
Mm-hmm.
spot.
Mhm.
We saw how Halliburton was affected in the last game and pretty much didn't do much to help his team at all. Would you handicap this game without him? Even though they say
Yeah.
he's going to go, we know he's not going to be 100% with this type of injury.
Good question. You have to handicap this game as though yes, he will go. He's not going to be 100%, but handicap it perhaps from an in-game perspective more than a pre-flop.
Right.
So
Very good.
I think that's if you're looking at it, because now once you see how he's performing and you see how the game is going out, then you know just how effective. Now the other part is this: he's going to get loose, he's going to get pregame treatment, he'll warm up, but then you've got the second half, right, where he's now what happens? He's probably going to have to get treatment at halftime as well, if he's still in the game.
Right.
But I think if you're looking at this game, it's more of don't be over anxious. And again, that may sound contrary to say, look, Vinny, you're costing business. No, not really, because folks are going to bet it pre-flop anyway. But if from a handicapping perspective, I don't mind saying that it may be worth, because what you see is what's evident, right? That's going to be the key.
Jeff, for you, if you see that he is not well and they're not playing well without him, would you be kind of aggressive on laying a big price with OKC in game?
Probably not. You don't want to go too hyper aggressive. Like, let's say Halliburton is ineffective. They put McConnell in. Let's say OKC's up 8 early. The numbers spiked to 12.5. I don't know if I want to do that. Even when McConnell was on the floor in Game 5, that was when the pushes were made.
He's dangerous. He can score. He can score. Yeah,
and that was because that game, and it was so different. It was so different than basically most of his postseason. It was so refreshing to see where the better team, which look, Oklahoma City is the better team. There's no arguing that, whether Halliburton is healthy or not. But the better team took the other team's best punch twice, because that game went to 4, went back up to 9, went to 2, went back up to 11. We haven't seen that at all this postseason from anyone, realistically speaking, other than OKC against Denver in that Game 5. But I would be very cautious, especially in Indiana's building. I'd be very cautious of laying big in-game numbers, unless if it's just like, whoa, Indiana can't do anything here in this game. But even if Halliburton's not 100%, I expect Indiana to at least stay in this game. I like OKC to wrap it tonight, but I'm not going to lay 6. I'm not going to lay a big number.
Well, the other handicapping angle too is this, right? You can watch to see if the game goes back to, let's say, 6.5 or 7.
Sure.
Then maybe it's a take, and then you're still going to pay attention to what's happening in game as well, right? But look, both of these teams have shown resilience. They've shown depth, and that's why they're here, right? And these are the last two standing. I think OKC has certainly found their stride. But look, Indiana in an elimination game at home, where they made a run the other night, but then they were done, right? You saw the last couple of minutes. It was like that. You realized that Carlisle knew it wasn't going to happen. Obviously, Halliburton injured. So those two elements. See how high it goes before tip off, and then certainly pay attention to what's happening in game.
It'll be interesting to see. SGA hasn't really been bringing the ball up, and that has definitely helped OKC the last 2 games. Will they go with that strategy again? Will Jalen Williams be bringing the ball up? Or
well, I'm happy you brought that up, actually. Can we fire those MVP odds real quick, Ryan? So there's a legitimate argument for Jalen Williams winning the Finals MVP at this point. And look, Shea is almost $6. Is he probably going to win it? Yes. But these last 2 games,
Williams has been ridiculous.
Who's their best player these last 2 games? It's been Williams. Williams controlled the tempo of the game in Game 5. And in Game 4, when Oklahoma City was making their comeback, he was the one. And it's been Williams is not usually a downhill to the basket guy. He has been that these last two games, and that has been a humongous difference in this series. I think even though it's, again, Williams was 15-1 before Game 5 to win the Finals MVP, it's a different bet now. I think 7-1. That's FanDuel, right, Ryan? I think 7-1 on Jalen Williams right now is actually a totally reasonable price if you want to take a shot. Now, is Shea going to win? Still probably, but boy, if Williams has a third consecutive game where he's the best player on the floor for Oklahoma City.
Yeah.
They win those 3 games to close out the series. That's a hard thing to ignore if you're the voters here.
Well, look at Williams on the perimeter the other night too, right?
That's everything. Yes, that was 2 nights ago.
So, listen, you can, but I wouldn't lay 5.5.
No, definitely don't do that.
Even if he's that much, even if he's the leader in the clubhouse, just I can't say it.
Vinny, thoughts on Florida winning back-to-back? I mean, in a dominant fashion over, the greatest player in the league right now in Connor McDavid. But Florida is just a full, great team, and they really showed up this postseason.
Well, great organization. And again, we talked about the moves they made with Marchand and Jones during the course of the season, right? A trade for Jones, and then also a trade deadline with Marchand. Look, they were we talked about, as the series goes on in the NBA, and how much it's hurting with the injury to Halliburton. The Hyman injury for Edmonton was very big. Okay, I'm not saying that if he played that they would have won. However, it affected their depth, and as the series went on, you could tell that they missed that extra dangerous player, right? That extra dangerous winger. I think the biggest thing for me, though, was what Florida did to take the best player in the world, McDavid. Really, he had 1 goal.
Yeah.
I mean, in 6 games. So you've got to credit their forechecking, their back checking, just the way they defended. Look, they're the best. They're the best team in hockey. I mean, back-to-back titles. Now I know they have some free agents that they have to deal with in the off season. But you know what's interesting? If you looked at the final standings, they were also they did not have the home ice advantage for the majority of their series, right? Certainly for the East Conference Finals and for the Stanley Cup Finals. That was fine. They were okay with that because they just look. They take care of business. They knew how to get it done. They were not concerned with, oh my God, we have to finish on the top of the conference. I think actually, and I was talking about this with Vince off air recently. The Knights. Let's look at the Golden Knights. This is a complete opposite situation, and I'm not saying that it would have made a difference with them winning the cup or not, but they were so fixated with winning the Pacific Division. When you saw the Knights in the postseason, they were not as fresh. They were a tired team. Now I think their lack of speed, certainly worked against them as well. Where in the case of Florida, look, let's just get in there. I remember, let's go back. When the Islanders won their 4 cups in a row and they went to 5 straight Stanley Cup Finals, just get us in. And I think that's what I thought about when I saw the Panthers. Just get us in, and we know what to do and how to take care of the rest. And of course, Maurice is a terrific coach. So they did a great job, and they deserved it. And credit them for the way they overcame everything that Edmonton could possibly throw at them.
I want to go to this sheet.
Go to that one because
Vinny, you brought it up before we even started in this segment. So WNBA wise, Caitlin Clark's returned.
Correct.
2 games since the return, an absolute monster outburst in beating the undefeated Liberty.
Yep.
And then Tuesday night is all right for fighting instead of Saturday night, apparently. Just A lot of, in all honesty, just the officials needed to do a better job managing the game. That's all it was, more so than anything.
I think so.
But you said forget, we know the television stuff.
Well,
betting-wise, she drives the action here at the South Point as well. By the way, Fever 11.5, Caitlin Clark and company.
Yeah. And they laid the 11, by the way.
I'm not surprised by that, Vinny. In San Francisco to take on the Valkyries, who we talked about this off the air. The Valkyries, as of right now, would actually be in a playoff position. They're only one game under 500, which for a team that had a win total of 8.5 this year, having 5 through 11 games is pretty darn good.
Let me tell you, everybody has an opinion on Caitlin Clark, whether they're players in the WNBA, coaches in the WNBA, fans in the WNBA. And I could tell you this, in our world, in sports betting, Caitlin Clark drives handle on the WNBA. There's 4 Caitlin Clark props today in this game tonight. Her point total of 21.5, her rebound total at 5.5, her assist total at 8.5, and her 3-point field goals made at 3.5. Those props, forget the game for a second, because the game is going to outhandle the Mercury Liberty game. Those props will also outhandle the side on the Mercury Liberty game. She drives business. Now, this is not a promo for Caitlin Clark. I'm just saying that because she gets so much media and public attention, you can't ignore the attention she gets and she brings to this league from a betting standpoint. Years ago, when we first started to post WNBA games, there were a handful of people that zeroed in on the games. And this was the philosophy, and we've talked about this in the past, right? In our world, my world, behind the counter, we've got to book everything, so to speak. On your side of the counter, you don't have to bet everything. You can zero in on one sport. You can zero in on one conference or one division within a sport. That was the mindset with the WNBA. Well, now the WNBA is posted on a regular basis. It's part of the rotation. We've got every day. And, of course, Tuesday we had 6 games, tremendous handle. But again, the Indiana-Connecticut game was the highest handle game because there's an interest in her. People, when people come up and they say, "Are you going to put the Fever game on the big screen? And is it going to have sound?" You have to pay attention to that. And of course, they're also betting it. So that said, credit the league. I think there's tremendous talent in the league. I enjoy the league. I enjoy the attention that it's gotten, and these ladies have worked hard to get it. I think people need to have more of an appreciation for it and for how hard they work. But in terms of Caitlin Clark, she drives handle.
There we have MVP and the odds to win the WNBA. That's very interesting right there. I mean, seeing the Aces completely fall off is pretty crazy, but then seeing those top 3, and now we know Minnesota and Indiana are going to meet in the Commissioner Cup. So depending on how that game goes, one of those numbers could move drastically.
I still think New York is the best team.
No question. And the Liberty are the best team in the league.
The defending champs at this point. And the one thing that has made New York I think they're better than they were a year ago because Ionescu is significantly better this year than she was last year, which she has. And it's weird to say because Ionescu has still been considered a top 10 player in the league probably now for about 2-3 years. She's vaulted into the category of top 5 player, maybe even top 3 player so far this year. And still, Breanna Stewart is the second best player on the team. You have an absurdly good team. I think New York. I think we're on a New York Minnesota crash course again. As well as Indiana has played these first 2 games with Clark back, I'm curious to see how all the noise around it impacts the way those games are officiated moving forward, which we'll have to see. There's your MVP, Collier. Even though Collier left the game 2 nights ago with an injury, so that is something to at least monitor on the MVP front with Collier, who is correctly a -320 favorite right now.
I agree with you, Jeff. There's no doubt that the Liberty are the best team in the league. You can make a case that they're better, especially with last year's experience, and of course, even before winning the title last year. The way they got further and further, it advanced further and further into previous years' playoffs. They're a deep team. They're a physical team. They're a very together team. They're a balanced team. I would say that they're the most balanced team in the WNBA, and well coached. So yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see when Indiana goes. So with that win the other day, it's going to be interesting to see the Liberty are going to respond very strong for that rematch. But it's a great league. I really enjoy watching it.
Should we
go ahead,
the baseball?
Yeah, sure. Yep, that's exactly where I was going.
Vinny.
Yep.
Let's start off with the Yankees right now.
Well, you could pick either New York team.
By the way, the Yankees are in a rain delay right now.
Yeah,
so.
they might be better off. I mean, I remember the '62 Mets who lost 120 games, and people were thankful that 2 of them didn't get made up because they probably would have lost 122. But go ahead, Jeffrey or Alex. I'm sorry.
Just curious your thoughts. Clearly, the Yankees are the best team right now in the American League, but it is close. I mean, the Tigers have a better record, 47-27, and the Astros actually, they're pitching. They're hitting starting to turn around. Is there any team that really jumps out to you in the American League starting off there first?
Yeah, I wouldn't go to sleep on the Guardians just yet either, but I do like I think that the Tigers are very strong, Alex. I like look at yesterday's game, right? The Tigers are clearly the best team in that division. But I think what's going to make the Tigers better also is that the division is better with the Guardians, with the Royals, with a lot of young talent there improving. I think the Yankees are going to have to get more consistent and better pitching. And play some better defense. I mean, you look at the records, but a lot of times the records don't always tell everything. Again, just get us in and let's go. But I love that you brought up the Astros, because the Astros, remember, there was all of this talk at the first month of the season. What's wrong with the Astros? Who they lost. They have people out of position and trying new position. Altuve was playing in the outfield.
He played left field.
Right. I mean, so you look at that. Again, an organization that doesn't get rattled, and it's a lot easier in baseball because of the length of the season, where not getting rattled and you have time to sort things out, right? So, I mean, the Astros have been dangerous over. I don't think they're as talented overall as they were, before they, by losing some people, attrition and trades and free agency, but. They're in first place now in the West, so you can't really ignore that. Watch the Mariners too, I think, because this is a time, right, where the Mariners, they're typically slow starters, but they get things.
Yes.
They get things going.
Just got to start hitting. That's my whole thing with them. It's what it's been for about 5 years now, since they've at least come back into the stage of being a playoff competitor. The NL side of things, I think it's pretty much at this rate for me. It's the current division leaders: Dodgers, Mets, Cubs, Phillies, and then look, the Padres are not playing well at the current moment. The Giants have lost 4 straight games, even with the huge acquisition of Devers. I still think it's those 6 teams, Vinny, are the representatives. Yeah. But I mean, San Diego has let Milwaukee, Cincinnati, St. Louis back into this thing. Yeah. Even the Braves all of a sudden have won 3 straight series, even though they're still 6 games under 500.
Dodgers, look, you always have to start with the Dodgers. Simply, obviously defending champs, but with so much talent, depending on what Ohtani does on the mound. I mean, obviously one inning the other day, but look, they're only going to be scarier, I guess, with him in the rotation, even if it'll be on pitch counts and things like that. Padres. Sometimes I think the Padres are their own worst enemy. I don't know, but dangerous team. I'm curious to see how Devers fits in chemistry-wise with the Giants because he's an enormous talent. Look at Arizona. We saw what they did a year ago. I mean, again, you talk about the length of the season helping teams, and maybe they can make some noise. Go to the Central. Clearly, the Cubs are their best team. I mean, they're getting good pitching. They're hitting the ball. They're very good. Very obviously strong in Wrigley. But since the Cardinals got swept by the Mets a month ago, they've really turned things around. And again, that you talk about a solid organization. They don't panic. Good young players coming and again, well coached, and they're tough. And Milwaukee, Alex, Jeff, you brought up the Brewers again with an off season of losses overall, more losses than incoming. That the incoming players did not really look on paper to be as good as what they lost, right? But they're hanging around. And you go to the East, the Mets, you talk about a team that's their own worst enemy. I mean, I think when you, and this is me not talking as a fan, I look objectively at the Mets. I mean, we kid around a lot about them, but they are truly their own worst. I think they break down concentration and fundamental wise in critical situations. I think they're still trying to figure out some things particularly with Soto in the lineup, and although that seems to be correcting itself. Their pitching carried them for a long time. Then they started hitting the ball. Now, both their pitching and their hitting are way off. They've lost 5 straight. I mean, they got swept by Tampa. Credit Tampa. Just lost 2 in a row. Got shut out by Sale yesterday in Atlanta. It's an important time for them because they had a 7-game turnaround a month ago, and Philly went up by like three games, and
then it reversed.
Then it reversed itself, and now they're going to be in Philly this weekend. I mean, so they've got to go Atlanta here. They've got to play the Phillies this weekend, and there'll be the Sunday night game in Philly, and then they come home and they've got the Braves. And whatever you say about the Braves. They're kind of like the Mets' kryptonite in recent years,
especially down there.
So,
but I will say this real quick: in that NL East race, which it's still too early to call either the NL Central or the NL West, obviously. But the Cubs and the Dodgers, it would surprise me if they don't win their divisions. The NL East at this point. I still don't. I mean, Atlanta's still 11 games behind the Mets. Even if they win today, they're still dead.
Yeah.
But that Philly Met,
it's going to come down to those two. Yeah.
It's going to go back and forth another 5 times.
Yeah.
Like they're each going to have 3-game leads again, 4-game leads, and
going to go back and forth.
Ball. Like it's going to happen. Both of those teams are.
No doubt, it's going to go back and forth.
For me, it's far and away the most intriguing race the whole way through, and whoever wins that division. Again, I've said this to Alex on multiple occasions. Getting a bye this year in the NL feels a lot more important than it has in any year under this format because of the strength. There's more strength to these wild card teams than I think there's been in the past. Now, granted, that hasn't mattered the last few years because the 6th seed has made the NLCS all 3 times under this format.
Yeah. But the teams are in a rhythm too, though. Jeff. So again, just get in. I get it. I think too the likelihood of the Mets and the Phillies being more active at the trade deadline than the Cubs and the Dodgers may be a little bit more likely. The Dodgers are always going to be looking for things. But man, I guess all 4 of them will be. You see what kind of additions. Come up. Obviously the Giants got ahead of things, making the Devers deal, but hasn't worked out just yet. It's going to be interesting to see. Again, I think the clubhouse is is critical. And there's a lot of things in the clubhouse that we're not privy to.
Vinny, we're going to take a quick break because we got to get Alex's whiteboard here
Yes.
on a Thursday. And we'll wrap things up when we get back. Sports by the Book, South Point Studio.
South Point offers all the types of entertainment you'd expect at a first-class Las Vegas resort. Did you know our 400-seat showroom is one of Las Vegas's top destinations for live entertainment? Enjoy live performances by classic Vegas entertainers, bands, and today's hottest comedians, plus a rockin' dance floor. You can also enjoy live entertainment at the Grand View Lounge, where you'll feel all the vibes of old Las Vegas. Enjoy the music, and if you love to laugh, don't miss The Dirty at 12:30, our very own free comedy show. Every Friday night at 12:30 a.m. in the Grand View Lounge. The Dirty is 100% free, so arrive early. Go to southpointcasino.com or call the box office at 77136 for today's performances at the showroom and the Grand View Lounge. When you're ready for your favorite cocktail, stop in and unwind at one of our 7 specialty lounges. There's a bar around every corner, because you're in Vegas, baby. South Point Casino has plenty of attractions for the whole family. Catch a movie. Our 16-screen movie theater includes 2 XD Extreme screens for the ultimate in viewing, sound, and luxury. After the show, treat the family to a variety of treats at our old-fashioned ice cream parlor, Kate's Corner. We scoop up a variety of creamy concoctions, including smoothies, hand-dipped cones, milkshakes, malts, sodas, and sundaes. At Kate's, there's something for everyone. And if you've still got time to spare, our bowling center might be right up your alley. Voted Best of Las Vegas, it's a great place for friends and family fun. 64 lanes, a pro shop, snack bar, and arcade. And while the kids are bowling, you can play slots and sip on a drink in the Alley Cat Lounge while overlooking the lanes. For our more serious and professional bowlers, the South Point is also home to a separate tournament bowling plaza.
We're back in Sports by the Book, South Point Studio. Jeff Parles, Alex White, Vinny Malaiulo here as well. All right, Vinny, let's see if you can get the trivia question right.
I haven't been good at these.
Which Hockey Hall of Famer scored the Stanley Cup clinching goal for his team on this date in 1999? It was a controversial one, to say the very least.
1999.
1999.
Hall of Famer.
You want the matchup?
Wasn't Bob Nystrom. That was 1980.
Oh, that was way sooner.
That was 19 years sooner.
You want the matchup? The matchup was Dallas and Buffalo.
Dallas scored. Dallas won that cup.
Correct.
Right?
Yep.
And
let's just say he's got a very famous last name for hockey.
Gilbert.
It was Brett Hull.
Brett Hull,
who scored the winner.
Who they traded? Did they trade for him that year from St. Louis?
Yes.
At the trade deadline?
And then Dallas won this cup on the controversial goal against Dominik Hasek there at the end. First cup for the Stars franchise. Yeah. They went back the following year and lost to the New Jersey Devils in 6 games. Jason Arnott, of course, beat him in that one. But Hull, the winner.
Yeah, I think they traded for him at the trade deadline.
I'm pretty sure they did that year with St. Louis. JR just beat Nick out, so that rivalry continues on.
Excellent.
Here in the chat.
Very good.
It's funny, 2 Reds fans, too, and we're like pitting them against each other in the trivia contest.
9-4 Minnesota, by the way, in the bottom of the 4th inning. If you had the over in Cincinnati, you did well here today. All right, Alex, whiteboard here on a Thursday to wrap things up on the show.
All right, I've got 6 plays today. How I'm going to play it is probably better about 3/4 the unit on each one. So my dad always uses the example, instead of going 140 to win 100, just a flat 100 there for, say, the favorite. So Phillies and Mets, I'm going to start with those two of the best ground ball pitchers going today. The Phillies have Christopher Sanchez, minus 140. I think that's a great price against the Marlins here. Mets trying to avoid the sweep. We talked about it. Spencer Strider on the other side for the Braves. I don't think he's fully back. I think the Mets can get going here with Clay Holmes on the mound. I'm going with the red-hot Tampa Bay Rays, minus 135 to keep it going here. Astros, minus 130 against the Athletics. And then Diamondbacks, I'm going to take a shot on them, also trying to avoid the sweep against Toronto. And then Giants, we've got Logan Webb, one of my favorites, on the mound. So I'm going to lay the run line minus 120. So that is first 5 down there, minus half a run.
All right.
Big card here for Alex on a Thursday. We're simpatico on favorites, Phillies, Rays, and Giants here today. First 5 run line on Logan Webb, just to bounce it back after 2 straight losses against the Guardians for San Francisco. Vicenz, thank you.
Good to be with both of you.
Good to
always.
be with you as well. I know we'll be seeing a lot of you around property over the next few weeks.
Yes.
Alex, good luck. You and I are back tomorrow morning. Adam Rosenberg joins us at the top of the show. Get ready for the weekend of baseball ahead right here on the program. Big thanks to our crew as always, Jerry and Ryan and Sean, Drew Dog, and thank you all. And of course, Vince as well. Thanks to all 6 of you. And we'll be back tomorrow. We'll have a good show tomorrow.
Let's do
you
it
can
again.
see all of our Aviators stuff is out. Aviators clinch with 2 wins today, the first half in Chicago. Maybe we'll see Matt Neverett, who might have a little too much champagne if the Aviators clinch today in Texas. We'll see you again tomorrow. Sports by the Book, South Point Studio.